Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Hello and welcome to round 4 of the Apex Racing League Formula V Championship live on Apex Racing TV. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick and alongside me is Andy Thompson, Sam Kumo operating the production side of things tonight, and we are here at Lime Rock Park for 3 15-minute races tonight. Andy, this is going to be a fun round of the championship. I think there's only a couple of braking areas around this entire Lime Rock Park circuit. The rest of it is all just slipstreaming, and it's very narrow, walls very close to the edge of the circuits in parts as well, and a circuit that everyone knows like the back of their hand.
Yeah, definitely. Good evening, Sam. Good evening, viewers. Yeah, Lime Rock is one of probably the tracks that are made for this car. Tight corners, some of the tight corners like the chicane coming down to 5, 6, and 7. So that's going to be sort of clinch point coming down no name straight, and obviously the starts are going to be interesting, Sam, going around the Big Bend turn 1 and 2. So, you know, as we've seen in the past on some of the rounds, turn 1 seems to be the clinch point where we see a lot of action where cars slightly get it wrong going around turn 1. So I think this is another track that we could potentially see a few incidents going around turn 1 and 2.
Yeah, absolutely. So the drivers going through that, especially with the reverse grids, is going to be paramount to get a good result. The drivers are currently in a qualifying session, 15 minutes in length, and they apologies, 10 minutes in length, and they have as many laps as they want to set, but they are all out on circuit with one another. And so whilst by yourself, you can get a good lap. If you've got some teammates, and that is something that the drivers have been talking about, in the driver chat how if you've got teammates in this series, you can really get a big advantage. And well, some of the drivers trying to take advantage of that right now, and also just get maybe the toe of a straggler as well just in front. We're riding on board with Jay Walsh, who's a little bit by himself at the moment. Not sure if Walsh is fully pushing on this lap, but just trying to build up that speed around these final couple of corners. And well, it's all just flat out here. Must be about 30 seconds consecutive in the second half of this lap, going on to the next lap of just completely flat out tussle.
Yeah, that's a big thing, and like you said at the start, Sam, it's all going to come down to slipstreaming. It's an extremely long start-finish straight in these cars, you know, starting from probably turn 7 where they come on the uphill section, as we see, taking him wrong there, and unfortunately Jay Walsh gets taken out on his qualifying lap and loses his front right-hand tyre, so he should have enough time to get back out there and do some more laps to try and get a decent time. But yeah, Sam, it's all going to be about the slipstreaming, coming off that uphill section 5, 6, and 7, getting a really good run out of there. And like you said, from there all the way down to turn 1 is going to be flat out. So these cars will be slipstreaming a lot from that point onwards. Obviously, just got to take it a little bit easier going down the downhill turn into turn 9, which gets you onto the start-finish straight. Because if you get that corner slightly wrong and you go out wide on that, you could see a spinner going around there in the start-finish straight, which will almost certainly wreck your car. So the guys just need to be aware of that, and probably, I would say, not go 2x2 down that corner, but I'm pretty sure we're going to see it tonight, Sam.
Yes, I think we probably will do. You're just seeing the championship standings. Siri Sabo at the top of the overall standings. Pushy Star Pravda top of the amateur standings, and still second place out of the overall drivers as well, which is remarkable for considering that he is an amateur driver. But just that consistency for Pravda. But Siri Sabo leading in ARL Championship for the first ever time after the Hockenheim round. Janka in second position, Skoret, Mietinen, Andelo, all right up there, sharpened here with a race ban tonight, so that will take a hit for him. And Jensen Adjensons and his brother Derek Adjensons way down the order at the moment. So still the championship totally open. This is round 4 out of 8 in the series, so still plenty of time for the drivers to bring back any deficits. There is Miro Haraski though on the top of the standings in qualifying with what I believe is his first pole position of the season. Great work there from the Fox Speed driver. Then behind him is Alexander Skoet continuing his great qualifying form. Behind that is Jesse Mietinen. Jet Will, top of the amateur just. Terrific qualifying there for Will. Great effort. Flavio Andelo starts in 5th. Then it's Jakob Behrens, a little bit further down than he'd like for IGL Coatings. Then it's Daniel Siri Sabo, championship leader. Aaron Smith, Russ Fowler, and Brad LaCour rounding out the top 3 in the amateurs. Then it's Jack Reeves. Simon Ball starts in 12th place. Pushy Steyr Pravda in 13th. That's his worst qualifying of the season, I believe, in the amateur category at least. Then it is Pedro Dominguez, Jay Walsh, Damian McMullen, Gabor Sabo, Bruno Costa, Jan-Philipp Janka, Mark Charpentier, Thomas Sorensen, Jacob Paris, Alexander Roggenbach, and Michael Kenter. Lots of drivers starting from the pits in this race one, Andy, so there's always going to be 2 starts here. It might help, at least from the grid, us avoiding any incidents.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's about 8 on the pit road for race 1, so 8 cars off the grid for the first race, but we're just about to get the first race underway, hopefully very shortly.
Yeah, we just need to wait because the driver starts in from the pits. Just have to wait for that clock to tick up to the 2 minutes, and then they can take their position in the pit stall. Shouldn't lose them that much time. It will probably put them about 5 seconds off the back, and also depending on where your pit stall is, you want to be nice and close to the pit exit if you possibly can be, and that really does help you when it comes to getting out the pits. You can get ahead of the rest of the pack and then really chase after the guys who started from the grid nice and quick. But the lights are about to come on then, and round 4 of the Apex Racing League Formula V Championship is underway. Haraski from the pole position. It looks like a decent start for him at the moment, holding off Skoret. But both of the front runners getting a very strong start from the grid as they head into turn 1. Skoret able to take a slightly more conventional line there, so they might be able to gain some time, but there's no problem for the Slovenian out in the lead. Poor start for Jet Will, actually the top of the amateur drivers, just dropping down 3 places there, so punching above his weight perhaps, and just starting to drop back, but still not too bad for him at the front of the amateurs as we start this slalom, this snake through the hills of this Lighton Rock Park circuit, and this is where the slipstream can really prove important.
Yeah, it was a great start. It's actually nice to see the whole field getting around. Touch wood, the first lap pretty much unscathed. Certainly the first corner, I was expecting to see some incident there, but all the cars got through nice and neatly, giving each other lots of room, which is one of the things about this championship, Sam, is that obviously it's a new car, new championship we had. The first race was a bit of carnage, but you know, the drivers are getting used to these cars now and getting used to the slipstream effect that this cars can do, and you can certainly see that in the later rounds going in as we finish our first laps, and Skoret obviously takes first place with Haraski in second place. That's a bit strange considering Haraski got the fastest lap on that, so I wonder how Skoret got that probably into the first corner, dived on the inside. It'd be good to see a replay. Oh, as we see Damien McMullen there, and unfortunately getting it wrong round turn 1, which is quite easy. So a few cars off there, and Sabo is off as well in the turn 1. It looks like he's gonna have to go back to the pit. So we'll see a little instant replay of what happened here.
Yeah, so 3 cars involved in this one. Oh, it was very clumsy from the one who kicked it all off. And yeah, messy stuff. So that is Gabriel Sabe, who is not the championship leader. Anyone new to the series, Sivi Sabe and Sabe, no relation whatsoever. They are both based in Hungary and both have a similar name. Sivi Sabe, they're up into 6th position, just holding off Jet Will. So Skoret was able to take the lead. But man, this is going to be a fun race because the run to the line around this place is up there with Road America in terms of length. It is going to be so easy to pull ahead. In fact, you probably won't be second place coming out of the chicane on the last lap because we've seen it twice now. Haraski easily able to get ahead. Now Behrens moves up to second place. Now Behrens didn't qualify very well. Behrens has got a couple of pole positions, I believe, so far this season, usually up on the front couple of rows. Only qualified down in 6th, but he's had a terrific start. He's up to second place already. And crucially, him and Skoret both drive for IGL Coatings, so they'll be working together in 2nd and 3rd to try to take the race win. A little bit of side by side now with Sivi Sabe moving up to 4th position. He's had an excellent lap as Sivi Sabe's got past Meetson and Smith. Smith goes for a very ambitious move, and look at Sivi Sabe, he's all over the place, and there's big contact now between some of the drivers in the top 10, and that's a couple of big hitters in the championship as well. So bad news there from Sivi Sabe. It was risky from Smith to start it all off, but once he saw Sivi Sabe slide ahead of him, it was curtains.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Behrens obviously getting up 4 places from where he started. He is a naturally fast driver, as we see Aaron Smith front left there, pretty much damage. It'll be interesting to see if he can get in the pits because he's got to watch out for cars coming down his outside in that last corner, but manages to get it in, gets in there to take up his fast repair. So everybody gets 1 fast repair during this race. Oh, a big incident there with Jack Reeves and Jarrett Will for, I think it was 8th and 9th? No, it was,
top of the amateurs as well.
Yeah.
As well.
Oh, no. You know, we'll see what happened here coming down. It's a slipstream that you say, Sam, and obviously coming into the first corner, slightly gets hit by the car and then unfortunately turns around and hits into, I think it was Jack Walsh as well, hits into Jack going in there. So the power of this slipstream effect coming down that first corner, exactly like you say, Sam, you do not want to be in that lead if you're in close proximity of other cars coming around that last corner, because you will get a slipstream down there, because the start finish is actually quite far down that the start finish straight. So you know, there's plenty of room there to get the overtake done before the line, as we see here. Jackal Behrens trying to take, he's in second. No, he stays in second place. Hurski gets first place back. Behrens is quite fast with Skoret, like you say, his teammate, his rear gunner at the moment in 3rd place. So these two will be working well together, slipstreaming each other to try and put Hurski under a little bit of pressure there in 1st place.
Yeah, and what Horeski doesn't want to do is drop to the back. Because often when you're second in the line or first in line, it's kind of all right. Once you drop to the back, it becomes very tricky because the second place man is very overly defensive, and so he doesn't want to drop too far back. But this is good job at the moment from the Slovenian driver as they get back onto the dots and once again blats out through the final 2 corners and the pit straight. And you can see already the move coming from Behrens, so Horeski should be able to actually tow his way back past soon after that. Top of the amateurs now is Dominguez. Great job there from Pedro Dominguez, up 9 places from his start. There's also Scuret just going through as well. His teammate Behrens will slots into the inside just to give his teammate a better draft there. But Dominguez now at the top there. Fowler in second. Ball and Pravda up to 8th position now, but they're all quite spread out. It's certainly not the snake that I was expecting. That incident for the drivers running around 5th position has really set them back quite a bit. In fact, Miettinen back out on circuit, so everyone who has crashed so far has been able to get back out onto track. They do get a fast repair in this series, so you can tow back to the pit to get that fast repair. You lose about a lap, but you still score points as long as you finish 0-1 or 2 laps down, as we see Dominguez losing out to Fowler there. So Fowler up to the top of the amateurs. That is 4 places up from his start, and it seems like Fowler's got a little bit more pace, but I don't think he's got so much more pace to break that draft to his Portuguese rival.
Yeah, just looking at their fastest time, Sam, and there's absolutely nothing in it between Russ Fowler and Pedro Dominguez. So, probably it's like you say, it's that slipstream effect, and we'll probably see Pedro go back past Russ Fowler come down here into the first, as we already see him taking him on the last corner on that inside line, so side by side coming down into turn 1. So they'll meet side by side going into turn 1, as we see Behrens, Horeski still in second place with Scuret in third. So the teammates are working quite well together to try and just nullify Horeski at the moment, but he's proving to be a thorn in their side at the moment from having a 1-2 finish for the IGL Colton's iRacing team there. So we'll be interested to see what happens on that and how they set themselves up as a team going in and see how they deal with Horeski. But as we're on board with Jay Walsh at the moment in the battle for 11th, 12th and 13th with McMullen, Reeves and Walsh. So that's in the amateur class at the moment. But yeah, it's Pravda, like you were saying at the start, second place in the overall standing, Sam. That's just down to his consistency. He's Mr. Consistent on this. He's never really, I think in the first race he got a 3rd place, but ever since then he's just been consistent, knowing the limits of his abilities, and if anybody's around him that he thinks is faster, he'll just let him pass. But it's really paying dividends for him in the championship, as we see Pravda there with a ball right on his tailpipe there. Luckily didn't make contact with him, but was so close to making contact as we see him going round down into turn 1. So ball takes Pravda at the moment, but I think Pravda would have been a bit twitchy then, seeing how close ball got to him at the start finish straight there. So
yeah, you can bump draft these cars, I believe, but you can see how pointy that nose is. It's risky business, and you haven't got much of an area to aim at on the back of the car ahead. So yeah, it's best not to do that. I'm not sure if that was what Ball was thinking, but well, he wasn't far from a push, draft train right there. Ball actually just making a little bit of a gap, but perhaps still within the tow range, should be able to catch up. Just seeing the times from Flavio Andale at the moment. Good times from him. He's been a little bit faster than the race leaders as Costa is round. So whilst his fellow countryman Dominguez is doing well, Costa has had a spin. Would be interested to see how this one happened. But yeah, 4th place Andalo, catching up to the top 3 slightly, at least when they're fighting. So don't count Andalo out of the lead battle, as he takes too much of the first curb, too much of the second curb, and he gets the trifecta. Great work there from Brune. And well, you can see how tall that curb was. He crashed into it, and the car didn't go over the curb, it stopped, because well, these things have a very low ride height. As we've got 3 wide here, this cannot end well. Well, somehow it's not too bad actually, because I think Yanko was actually involved in an incident earlier on today. Made a contact with another driver. Well, he's been able to avoid contact right there, going the long way round through turn 2 as the inside for 3. There isn't really much of an advantage to get track position at this point, because you're just going to be able to get the tough draft around the second half of the circuit. But McMullen's going to try to move past as well. So that's yeah, not great news there for apologies. That was Walsh just dropping to the back of this 3, and Walsh continues to drop back because he's now got Sorensen right on his tail.
Yeah, he got a really poor exit out of the right-hander coming down on no name straight. So basically lost a lot of speed down there as you saw him going around trying to scrub. I think he did the right thing because there was a car on his outside and therefore he would have lost a lot of speed. But real big battle here from 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. Probably all the way down to 15th. We can see them all here in the shot, how close they are all together, with the top 4 just fighting it out all the time. And it won't be long for these cars that are just behind, just slightly off the pace there, Sam, to get on the back of it. And it'll be like a 6-car race here for 9th place. So great battling. And as we saw there, going around first corner 3 wide and still managing to keep the cars all nice and safe is attributed to their good driving skills at the moment, I would say, Sam.
Yeah, this is really high quality racing. There's some high quality racing going up at the front, but this is much more, well, it's a big pack. And it's a little bit more important because those top 3 will continue to switch around. So if we're not showing that, that is the reason. This one is probably permanent moves. If you can make an overtake, it's very important. And well, Walsh is having an absolutely miserable time of things at the moment because Will, I think, is going to be past him very soon. Many of these drivers starting from the pits. Will actually qualified very well, but he had a spin as well. They're all going right to the inside line, trying to break the jump. This is really right at the front of this one. McMullen, runner-up in the Amateur Championship in the Apex Racing League Mazda Cup Season 2. He cannot quite get past, so he remains in 10th position overall.
It was a quite interesting battle and a quite significant one, really, Sam, because obviously the reverse grid for race 2 is only 10 places. So, you know, at the moment, Sorensen, who started from the pit lane, ends up 10 places. So a great recovery drive for him at the moment. You know, he needs to get that one more place, which McMullen in front of him, to get that reverse grid pole. And you can certainly see him trying to push for it. But Damien, obviously, a wily competitor, as we saw in the Mazda Cup, as you said, will defend that place to the hilt, as we see like 3 cars now coming into the battle. So there's 5 cars fighting over this 10th place spot as Sorensen lost out to Jarrett Will, who's now in 11th place. So, you know, these cars are going to be chopping and changing all the way to the line now, and I think the only thing that's going to differentiate him is this slipstream down here, as we see the power of it as we're on board with Jay Walsh. He's having to lift off because he's going that quick down there, whereas he would obviously go into the back of the car in front. So really good driving there, not overspeeding it, getting a really wide exit to get onto the power to come back in, as we see Sorensen now go into 10th place with Jarrett Will. So really hotly contested battle here, Sam, for 10th place.
Sure, just a question in the chat about the setups that these guys use. All fixed setups, all the iRacing baseline setups, so the one that you use in the official series, and yeah, that keeps it nice and evenly matched. It's a really good series this for any newcomers. So to check out apexracingleague.com if you want to sign up. Of course, we might even discount the price actually for the second half of the season. 4 rounds to go after this one, but it's still well worth joining, especially if you're interested in joining the series for season 2. As McMullen just getting a little bit detached now, as momentum was harmed, and he's going to be under big pressure now from Walsh trying to overtake. We are moving on to the 3rd to final lap, I think, now, because the leaders are so far ahead. I think they'll force an extra lap for these drivers, and it looks like Walsh is having to go the long way round. McMullen drives it in very deep, taking a much shorter line. Inside line does work with the banking, but McMullen does just enough, and he has been able to kind of catch up to the 2 ahead a little bit as well, so he might have a chance at attacking on the next lap, not just a bit.
Yeah, I'd say he was a very lucky driver, as Costa. We saw obviously his incident coming down into turns 5, 6 and 7, you know, literally near enough flipping the car, but he's already taken his fast repair, so luckily, I don't know how it done it, Sam, he actually didn't get any damage from that incident, which is quite surprising with these cars, because they're like paper thin, you know, a little tap of the wheel and it normally comes off, but he seems to have a really big hit, but manages. We see Jay Walsh coming off. Oh no, big, what happened here? Let's have a look at it. Coming down to the hairpin, or just getting it a bit squarely out of the chicane there, coming out of turn 6 going into turn 7, which is quite easy to do on this track, but I'm quite surprised we're not seeing a few more sides. But that's put Jay out of the running now for the reverse grid pole, which is currently occupied by Thomas Sorensen in 10th place, with McMullen 11th and Wills 12th. So think he's got a little bit of a gap now. Sorensen, I don't know. We'll have to have a look when it comes in as we're looking at the front of the grid at the moment with Lorenz leading the race.
And this is the last lap as well, so Berens seemingly has got a bit of a gap. You saw Hiraski defend really hard heading into the chicane. I think all of that defense, just trying to hold on to the second position, isn't going to enable him to catch up to Berens. Right at the end, it's quarter of a second, 0.2 of a second. Hiraski is trying to catch up, but it will be from 6th place on the grid, Jakob Berens to take race 1 of the evening. That is a fantastic performance there from the Norwegian. From a lowly grid position, he got to the front and just got that gap on Hiraski on the last lap. I'm sure would have fancied his chances from second place on a normal occasion. But McMullen has had a problem right at the end. He's got barely any of his car remaining. Is he going to be able to turn this final corner? Yeah, he's all right. So it's like leaning that way. Anyway, is that car is going to be overtaken by Smith right at the close, it seems. McMullen with a disappointing end. Hopefully he'll be more lucky later on in the evening. But Jakob Berens there, a little bit of a surprise, honestly, Andy, that he was able to hold on against Hiraski, but Hiraski took such a tight line into the chicane right at the end that, well, it just killed his exit, and Berens had a big enough gap.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to see Jakob up there. He had a disastrous round here at Hockenheim where he was really up the front, and then a few little incidents happened and got him down the field. So, you know, it'd be good for his confidence to actually get that race win. I'm not sure if it's his first one, Sam. Is it, or was that his second win? I can't remember off the top of my head.
I'm not sure actually myself, but I think that might be a good shout. He's certainly come close a number of times, and certainly a championship contender. Hiraski in second place, Garrett. Angelo Pravda was top of the amateur. Sorry that we didn't catch that one, but Pushy Star under the radar, managing to overtake Dominguez in those closing stages. Janka started from the pits and only finished 10 seconds off the lead. Watch out for Jan in this second race. And then Bala, Reeve and Sorensen was the top 10. The rest of the field will go through for you, but those top 10 crucially being inverted for the grid for this race 2 of the evening. So it'll be Sorensen from the pole, and Sorensen nearly won a race last time out actually, so it'll be fascinating to see if he can keep up that good form in only his second Apex Racing League meeting. We have 10 more seconds of qualifying to go. A couple more drivers will be starting from the pits in this one, I believe, but the majority, or far more at least than race 1, will be on the grid. And hopefully we all get through it nice and cleanly. So there is Sorensen with that inside line. It was a very good start for the pole sitter in race 1. Can Sorensen repeat that? Race 2 is underway. It's not a bad start for him, but I think Reeve will be fairly close heading into turn 1 as he just tries to cover off the inside, I think, from the fast starting Fowler, who is in 3rd position. Also good start for Janka and Dominguez, trying to attack around the outside. There is Dominguez, but I think he may have to play second best on that occasion. Sorensen making a slight gap out in the lead, and still Dominguez is trying to battle. We've got a spinner though, Andalo round, Janka is round, Costa is round as well. Huge shame for Janka. He had a good chance. Pravda as well, I think, has been involved in all of that one, but I think has got steering damage and lots of drives. That's LaCour, I know that livery, and a Ball Will as well involved. That is very messy. Round a turn 2 where wouldn't necessarily expect incidents there, and because usually the cars kind of fall onto the grass, but well, not on this occasion.
No, it takes that domino effect, as we'll probably see here, a good illustration from the overhead view. One car just makes a slight mistake going in there, the next car spins out, and then it's just a domino effect then of cars going in and losing control. You know, once you lose control and grip in these cars, you do slide over, and I think that's what it was, is that the big domino effect from that first incident, and it just ricocheted down the field. And that's the real importance with this league, is to try and get up to the front, because, you know, you could become a passenger in what is an incident, and it can ruin your race, as we see here. McMullen, LaCour, Ball, Fowler, Prada, Will, all getting back to the pit lane due to their cars being obviously damaged and written off, but get back to the pits, so they'll probably have a minute or minute and a half respite, and then obviously get their fast repairs. So they should be out and still scoring valuable points, but that won't help Pravda in his AM. What it might do, Sam, is tighten up the field a bit in the AM Championship, with Pravda was running away a little bit with the AM Championship, so it will certainly tighten it up. But, you know, Sorensen, for me, you know, starting from the pits in the first race, then just getting into that reverse pole position for second race, and now is currently in second. So a great recovery drive from starting in the pits, and he's fighting out with Reeves at the moment. Top three are all the amateurs, as we see there in the background. We saw the drivers coming out to the pit lane, so it'll be interesting to see how they get past the lap cars. But these two at the front at the moment, just fighting it tooth and nail, and swapping positions left, right and centre. So Reeves and Sorensen really doing well with Dominguez in third. So we're now 1, 2, 3 at the moment with Skurret, Smith and Araski trying to chase them down.
Yeah, and Dominguez, I think, made a mistake on that last lap, dropped about a second behind the top two, but then they started battling again. I think it would have been very wise for Sorensen to wait behind Reed, but if we've learned anything from Sorensen in his 5 races, or 4 races up to this point he's done in Apex Racing League, he does not hold back. And so those top two slowed each other up, and of course if those top 3 start battling, then as you say, you know, you've got that chasing pack who are very quick. Skurret, Smith, Araski and Co. All some of the top drivers in this series. Anderley, I think, was the one who spun it originally in turn 2 on the opening lap, kind of kicked off all the craziness, and yet he's still up there in the top 10. Here comes Dominguez then, so he's gained a huge amount of time. You can see how much faster he was because those other guys were battling. And yeah, if they keep on battling like this, they will be caught by the others. Reed keeps in the lead though for now. It looks like Smith and Haraski are actually battling a bit further behind in 5th and 6th places. Smith, I think, will have the advantage. He's got a much wider turn-in, and yeah, able to go right around the outside will chase after Skurret. Now, Siri Saber actually up 12 places from his start there in 7th place. And also just Jay Walsh there slowing down. He is on the lead lap as Walsh, but not feeling like he wanted to take part in that battle as such.
Yeah, moving over to the left and letting the guys go for him. It's a bit of a strange one, really, why he did that. Don't know. We'll have to, if he comes in the commentary, we'll have to ask him about that. But yeah, I mean, if the guys at the front, sorry.
Oh no, Reeve off, and he's gone back to the circuit. But he's all right. Now, was that contact? It must have been coming because that corner is barely corner, and he's going to try to get back to the pits. Well, he's just about done it, but that was that could have been much worse. I think that was Ball, the last one. Oh, apologies, must have been Sabo, I think, the last one to get past there. But here is how it happened. This was Dominguez behind him.
Coming down into the last corner, start finish, and Dominguez, like you said, you know, you can hit and bump draft these cars, but not when going around the corner. And unfortunately, Dominguez a bit too much ambitious into back of Jack Reeves' car, which is really unfortunate for him because he was really competitive on this race, and you know, to get in a good place to get the top. In a top 5, top 10 finish out of this race, so really unfortunate for him. And Dominguez manages to still keep in 2nd place with Sorensen at the moment. Still, was that? I thought that was nearly a spin there by Dominguez coming out, but Dominguez will be right on the tailpipe as Sorensen now. And as we see that slipstream come into effect, Dominguez will take the lead coming into the first corner with Sorensen on the outside, faster lap, so may get him on the cut back into at the end of the big curve. Coming out of turn 2, but these guys at the back now, Sam, because the two at the front are fighting out so hard that they're clawing in the gap. So it was just over 2 seconds. It's now under 2 seconds. So these guys are working well together, which is the right thing, which is what the front two should be doing, just to try and claw that gap back. And at the moment, they certainly seem to be doing it as we're on board with Haraski.
Yeah, and to be fair, I mean, even these guys have been passing as well, but they're still catching, such as their pace advantage. Ooh, Haraski almost making it. I think I have heard a little bit of criticism from some of the drivers towards Smith so far this season, that he does often try to get to the front of the packs. He does fight quite a bit mid-point in the race. I think that's what he's kind of doing at the moment. We'll see if they start battling here between Smith and Skurret, or whether Smith will just let Skurret go because the momentum is overwhelming. Sorensen back to the lead then. What is the lap comparison this time? You'll see it go up on the timing screen, and another few tenths of a second gained by Skurret, by this trio on that last lap. The gap down to under 1.5 seconds now. So as Dominguez, I think, has just come back, so that is going to lose them even more time. It's just also another half a second. Battling through turn 2, they're still battling. Come on, guys, work together. You've got a common cause here, but the pros have caught up, and that's the battling. They've lost over a second on this lap, just battling for 3 corners, and the gap is gone with half the race to go. Scorette is off, and he's almost in the wall. He'll be all right, but well, that's a good chance at a race win gone.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was just going too hot into that corner there, Sam. I don't think there was contact going into another car, and unfortunately spun him out. But luckily, he managed to get the car stopped before he hit the wall, so no damage to his car. So he just has to get himself back on it. He's still within this group in front of him, so he'll still have a slipstream effect coming down the start finish, and that's really bad news for Scorette going around that corner. I bet he was kicking himself there, considering they had just managed to get up with the front 2 and start racing out for that pole position win, or should I say the win for race number 2. But yeah, so these 2 AMs at the front will certainly be coming under pressure, as we see here now, a big battle between the 4th place onwards. So yeah, it's going to be close and really exciting into this race here. So
this is looking very good at the moment, as Swanson's been able to get away a little bit here, so Huraski's got past Dominguez. Smith will try to go through as well, I imagine. By the way, quick shout out to Apex Racing Academy. You may all see their logo occasionally flash up in the top right. Apex Racing Academy with 29 data packs for a variety of cars on iRacing. And those data packs include track tutorials, group coaching sessions, and of course setups as well. 29 different cars, ranging from road to rallycross vehicles. So if you want to get yourself an Apex Racing Academy subscription, do go to apexracingac.com. As Smith pulls off a stunning move straight through the middle. We love a 3 wide in this series. We see a fair few of them, and Smith pulled that one off to perfection, just sitting slightly behind his rivals there, and he's able to get past Huraski. Behrens was also able to get past Dominguez, so Dominguez loses 3 places in half a lap right there, and they can start chasing back after Sorensen.
yeah, you wouldn't believe 2 laps ago he was 1.5–2 seconds ahead of these guys. You know, got caught by him, and all of a sudden is currently down in 5th place, and he's just surrounded at the moment by a lot of pros. So he's going to be feeling a lot of heat now from these pro drivers as they try to get past him. With Sorensen still out front by 1.8 seconds at the moment over 5th place, so right down about a second, 1.2 seconds out in the lead. So we know that Sorensen's a fast driver, so it'll be interesting to see if we get our first AM win of the Formula V series here at Lime Rock Park in race number 2. But it seems to be certainly got the pace there, Sam. You know, he's the fastest man apart from Behrens at the moment on track in 4th place.
Yeah, and Smith and Huraski were battling a little bit heading into turn 1. I don't know what Huraski was doing there, going for the inside into Big Bend, but yeah, it didn't work. But Smith, to be fair, pulling off a couple of good corners there, just able to get the gap down to 0.7 of a second, as you can see on the timing card in this kind of peloton, if you will. Although it's not a particularly big pack. Sabo just trying to latch onto the back of this this 4-car battle. Andalay at the front, apologies, Janka at the front of it. Janka and Andalay spun at turn 2 on the opening lap, actually, and I think Scorette as well, actually. Apologies, Scorette had a second spin, but yeah, all have their problems, but still with a good result, as I think it's going to be a total sitting duck here. We might even see Scorette lead heading into turn 1, because he's got an excellent run on these two.
Yeah, definitely. He's in sort of no man's land. If you're in the front of that car on this big train you got here, as we see, Andalo getting past, but Jenks obviously keeping hold of that place, so found a bit more speed. Must have that NOS button, that secret NOS button he's looking at, going down to that first straight to manage to keep it away from the slipstream guys of Scorette and Andalo going down that start-finish straight. As we see here, Aaron Smith has managed to claw back that 0.6 of a second gap, and is now overtaken Sorensen to take the lead of this race. Sorensen in second. He just needs to keep his cool now and just drive his lines and try just to keep with Smith, because we know Smith's quite a fast driver, so he just needs to keep on his 10. As we can see the overspeed of the slipstream effect, we'll see a really good example of that coming down here and just finish straight down to turn 1. They go right on the back as he pulls out. He's going to be on the outside line for turn 1 as Smith takes that inside line from him. But Burns is catching up on one quite quick, and I wouldn't put it past him to get 2 race wins here. He's really fast on this track, Sam.
Yeah, I think it's realistic as Saraski just going for a bit of a half move right there. That's Robert. Yeah, awesome racing. Smith then, just holding on to the front. Right at the back of this one is Dominguez, who is second place out of the amateurs. Probably just going to have to sit back and hope that the others have a problem. So it looks like Parisas maybe had a problem, but he's back on track, as they are a lot closer this time. Haraski kind of messed up the chicane last time out, so that was why it was kind of just 2 cars battling for the lead. We are going to have 2 more laps after this one, and it's still Smith leading the way, but Sorensen's got a good run. Burns has got an excellent run. Haraski could make this one 4 wide potentially, heading into turn 1. Well, here comes the attack then from Burns. He's going to surely get his nose ahead, but he's got the worst line on the outside. Does Smith even know? They swoop around there. Burns taking into the lead at the moment, but Smith is holding on for all that he is worth. Burns with the inside line heading into turn 2, and that should be the line that you want. So Smith does lose the lead, but with a lap and a half to go, no certainty that Burns is necessarily in the right position.
No, definitely, but that was a great move there by Burns. He was sort of almost like boxed in going that start-finish straight. Had to do some very sharp manoeuvres to try and make sure he didn't hit into Sorensen and Smith in front of him, and managed to take them both on the outside of turn 1. So, you know, what hurt him going down the start-finish straight certainly aided him going in, as we see here. Hiroski and Sivasavo fighting it out, and Sivasavo gets 4th place off Hiroski. But look who's at the back of that group. Correct. Obviously had that incident coming out. He's got phenomenal pace at the moment, considering he's had a spin going down to the thingy to be on the back of them guys. So we've got sort of a split group now. The first front 3 have managed to get away slightly, and then you've got 3 cars wide into the first corner for 4th place with Dominguez, Oresi and Sivasavo. So, you know, wow, what an end to this race we're going to have, which I think might be the last lap this one, Sam.
Yep, I think it is going to be the last lap as Haraski gets back to the front of this train then. So, Haraski ahead of Sivasavo, Dominguez just at the back of it. So, very close. 3-car chain. They've lost so much time, but here comes the final run, and this is extremely good for Burns. If anything, I think Burns might be a little bit too close here, because he may have to lift off into the penultimate corner. Second will have to lift off into the final corner, and this might actually be looking very good for Sorensen, who's got that double draft and might just catch them at the perfect point. Smith trying to break the draft. Burns doesn't really want to be in the draft at the moment. He's trying to find a way past. Smith covers off the inside. What can Sorensen do just behind? It's a run to the line. Burns going for the second race win of the evening. Is he able to take it? He is on a dead heat almost. The 3 of them separated by 0.5 of a second at the line, but it's Jakob Burns with a second race win. He becomes the first multi-race winner in a single meeting so far this season, and that was perfect tactical driving there from the Norwegian. He really took a superb line going through those final couple of corners to get the momentum just right against Smith, who pulled some shapes right at the end of the run to the line, but it wasn't quite enough. Sorensen in a very close 3rd position as well. That's what we wanted to see when we visited Lime Rock Park.
Yeah, definitely. That was an excellent end to that race number 2. 3 cars within a hair's breadth of each other, and Jackal Barron's obviously starting in 10th place in that race number 2, getting up 9 places, and Aaron Smith, up 12 places. So them 2 guys were flying on that race. But the biggest mover in that race was Daniel Sivasavo, who got up 14 places on that race. So as we see the results here, with Jackal Burns in 1st place, second race winner tonight in race 1 and race 2, with Aaron Smith in 2nd place. Thomas Sorensen, the top of the AMs, in 3rd place. Pedro Dominguez in 4th place, 2nd in the AM. Daniel Sivasavo in 5th. Miro Hiraski in 6th. Alexander Scaret 7th. Jean-Philippe Yank in 8th. Flavio Andelo in 9th. And the 3rd place in your AM was Gabor Sivo, as we see the rest of the But interesting, 13 is the reverse grid for race week, so we'll see a pole position for Alex Roddenbuck, who managed to keep himself out of issues and has grabbed himself a reverse grid pole for race number 3, Sam.
Well deserved. Alex, who I think races in genuinely most of our leagues. He signed up for the F3 league actually recently, but great to see him out there. Very, very good driver is Alex, and yeah, pole position for him is excellent news. We've got a 5-minute break now between race 2 and race 3, so we're going to take this opportunity to show you a trailer for one of our sponsors in this series, but we'll be back with you in just a moment on Apex Racing TV for race 3 of the evening.
Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Welcome back to the Apex Racing League Formula V Championship live on Apex Racing TV. Huge thanks to Apex Racing Academy and Virtual Racing School for sponsoring this series. You saw the trailers for each of them just a moment ago, both offering some of the best setups that you can possibly get in iRacing. Fantastic tools to improve your driving, and the great thing about the two of them is that they are integrated with one another, so you can have all your setups from both services all collated in one area. It's so really fantastic stuff. You can use the setup sync technology from Apex Racing Academy along with the telemetry software from Virtual Racing School. It is an absolutely perfect match, so huge thanks to them, and do check out links to their 2 websites in the description below. The warm-up, or cooldown as I call it, is ending for the drivers at the moment before this race 3. Reverse grid of 13 for this one, Andy, and yeah, it's a little bit tricky to call because we've got 2 rows of amateur drivers right at the front.
Yeah, definitely, and they will certainly feel the pressure of the pros behind him, because I think we've seen Alex on the pole position in another race before, and I think he got overhauled by the scenario being on in pole position. So let's hope he has a good way of getting away from this. But certainly the pro drivers are going to have them amateur drivers, which are obviously a lot slower than what they currently are, and it's how they get past them at the moment to try and get round into the top places of this. So the start of this race is going to be really interesting, and how they go on it, as we see the red lights starting to come on as we start off our race number 3 with Roddenbuck in pole position, and they're away, and Roddenbuck actually gets a quite good start. Parisi gets a good start in second place, and Reeves again, obviously we saw how fast he was in the second race, is already up on Paris coming into the first as he gets that second place, and obviously is now right on the tail of Roddenbuck's car in first place. So Roddenbuck at the moment just needs to keep his line, keep his cool, as he gives the wide line to let through Reeves and Parisi into second and third. So Roddenbuck spins. Oh, unfortunate again, the curse of the pole position, and he'll end up being at the back of the grid. So a terrible start to the race 3 for Roddenbuck, as we see Reeves, Parisi, Andelo, Jank are your top 4 at the moment, and Andelo and Jank are battling out, coming down into the chicane, as we see a car off there from Andelo. Unfortunately gets out of there with a battle with Jank, and has ended up in 18th place. So bit of a hectic start to this heat number 3 here, Sam.
Yeah, for sure. This is very action-packed stuff, as the pro drivers trying to make their way through the orbit. You can see how spread out the top 3 drivers are at the moment. The top 4 drivers are, apologies. 4 wide at core, most look like, certainly 2 by 2 heading into turn 1. It's Reeve leading the way, Paris in second place, Yanka finally having a good start in third position, as they're still fighting at it. Big crash for Ball and Smith. Now, Smith was having a very good evening, actually, up to that point. Nearly won in race 2, of course. And, well, he's furious. He's so furious, in fact, that he's doing circles off the circuit. And, in fact, returns back to the pit. Sorensen having an issue, it seems, because he's just been passed by Jay Walsh. Up 7 places, by the way, is Jakob Behrens up into 5th position. There he is in 6th position, apologies, right behind his teammate Scuret. These drivers 5 seconds off the lead, but with pretty much the entirety of this 15-minute race to go, they've certainly got time. They've got Dominguez, who's latched onto the back of them. I'm sure Huraski and Sivi Sabo will be onto them fairly soon as well, as they go this 3-car battle at the moment. Jet Will is involved in this one. He qualified so well in race 1, so we know how quick Will is. And McMullen as well, a wily competitor. I think McMullen is going to be able to get past all of these drivers here. He just got a lovely run, made it 4 wide heading into turn 1, and he is able to slipstream his way past. However, he's very early on the pace and does let a couple of them go, but good effort there from the Irishman.
Yeah, nearly got his 4 places in one corner scenario come up for him, but unfortunately, like you said, as he gets clipped on the inside there with Sorensen. Oh, it's big issues.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
That was Sorensen who was the second one who got collected, I think. I think the initial one was with Sivi Sabo, was it not? And then Sorensen, I think, piled in. But, yeah, and so bad news for them. Sivi Sabo, championship leader. I imagine he won't be the championship leader anymore.
No, that's for sure. Not a good couple of corners for them guys there. And I think, obviously, McMullen, unfortunately, has had some incidences that have paid hamper to his races. So he was doing well, battling it out for the 10th place in race 2. And as we saw there, he was up the field battling out, and unfortunately had another incident which has taken him right down the field in 60th place. Oh, as Jan comes off in 3rd place. So that's the last corner coming down the start-finish straight. Oh, no, it's not. That's turn number 1. He gets taken out there. So he goes from 2nd place all the way down to 7th. So let's hope he hasn't got any damage there, Sam, so we can try and get back some of them positions. But he is now fighting it amongst the big guys from race number 2.
Well, he was actually in the lead for a moment there, and I think the driver who made contact with him was Jack Reeve. And that's why I said no, because I was, Yankees had a rubbish day, and I was thinking, this is his opportunity. You know, he's got to the lead, and then seemingly that seemed quite a one-sided thing. in terms of fault, but yeah, we'll see what the stewards think. Reeve has dropped back though, and Paris now with a 3-second lead now. No disrespect to Jacob. We don't think of him as necessarily the fastest driver. He is an amateur driver after all. So there might be time for the others to catch up, but by himself, no one to battle with. That could be a bit of an advantage. And if these guys are going to win this race, they need to work together from here on in to close that gap to the race leader. Behrens in second place. He'd be a very good man to kind of lead this train. Reeve in third, Sabo in fourth. He's now at the front of kind of this kind of mini train. You can see how the top two in that train have kind of pulled away slightly. And then, Sabo, Scarrett, Dominguez, Yanka, and Will just at the just a little bit detached, actually 2 seconds further back. But yeah, this could be a fun race from here on in. There's way too much curb. I think that was Reeve. Too much curb, and I think he may have damaged the steering as well because he spun round. So that is very disappointing for Reeve, fighting for the race win, but he's down to 8th place.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously feeling the pressure of all the amps behind him. It was from 4th all the way down to 7th place, and less covers him for less than a second. So really close racing here in third as we see Jack Reeves just trying to get some recovery drive back. You know, his adrenaline will be pumping a little bit more after that little spin, and the disappointment. He just needs to get back into his groove as we see Scarrett here coming down 2 by 2 into the first corner, getting the move done quite well. And Behrens is catching Parise in front of him, so he's taken about 0.6 of a second out of there in a lap, with Parise obviously in first place. But Behrens is I think he really wants them 3 race wins, Sam, and I certainly wouldn't put it past him with the speed that he's had tonight.
Well, very few men have ever done have accomplished that feat. Oh no! Oh, go away, Andy, go away. That is criminal. Absolutely. And Yank has done it as well. Well, I don't think I curse Yank. I'm just sad because I mean, that guy, sad stuff. But Behrens, what was that? He spun it by himself. You were just saying how well he's driven. He wants to do it. So I was about to say, very few men have ever done that. And Jacob Behrens isn't going to be one of those men because he's down to 6th place, battling with Haraski. Can't believe that one.
I can't believe that. That is the height of commentator's curse, I think. Was doing so well, and then the next corner after I say it, he spun on his own as well. It wasn't like anybody was around him. So obviously just trying to push that a little bit too hard going in, as gives Jacob a bit of more breathing space now. 3.1 seconds over Scarrett in second place, and then Savo in third, Dominguez fourth, and Will. So a good showing from the AMs in this round number 3 here tonight, Sam, with 4 of the top 5 all taken by amateur places. And Behrens is in 6th, but oh no. Oh, that was a replay. Is that a replay?
No, it wasn't a replay. No.
He's done it again.
Yeah, it's what's happened. He's forgotten how to drive.
He's forgotten how to turn into a corner, I think.
Yeah,
oh my word.
Hit the curbs, Jacob. You know, Rule 101. Dearie me. Well, that is a shame. Oh, 4 wide. Warning, sirens, crash, and off goes. That was Ball. So he was a lap down, Ball. So of all of them to go off, I think probably Simon was the best delegate. But it isn't good for him because he was a lap down as well in race 2. Never gives up, does Ball, which is good. But yeah, unfortunately, I think that one would have been a good battle to back out on. But at least those other 3 managing to continue. By the way, we haven't mentioned SDK Gaming for this broadcast so far, and this broadcast would not be possible without SDK Gaming. They provide our amazing overlay that you can see up on screen. Also live timing, a heads-up display as well for whilst you're racing. It's amazing for streaming, driving, and for broadcasting. Huge thanks to SDK Gaming, and do check out sdk-gaming.co.uk to get yourself a 14-day free trial. Angelo at the front of this kind of peloton now, and then Haraski Mietinen also having a good day. The Finnish driver up there in 8th position, but this one goes back a very long way.
That was a great move there by Mietinen, obviously coming off that the chicane there. He took sort of like 2 places and has got right on the back of these guys now. And fighting, as we see there, he takes 7th place and right behind Haraski. So yeah, a really good couple of corners there for Meetonen, who's currently sat in 7th place. So a big melee of cars here from 6th all the way down to about 10th place there, all in a line for a shot of 6th place here. So you can just see them weaving and darting all around the track just to try and get that extra position, as we see 2 cars going into the chicane, but manage to keep it well. Oh, big clip there by Flavio Andaloa, which, and he gets his wheel taken out for good measure. So I think he'll be going back to the pits with Jay Walsh. So that's the end of his racing there. So it's all happening in this 3rd race, Sam. We've had quite a few incidents where they have to go back to the pit, but at the moment we got an Am currently sat in 1st place with 2.6 seconds ahead of Scorette.
Yeah, and you see the 2 drivers with Scorette, they're back markers. There is Yanka and Sivi Sabo, which I think are like they might even be the top 3 in the championship, or certainly 3 of the top drivers in the championship. And I think Yanka and Sivi Sabo are a bit bored, and they fancy like battling with Scorette too. I think they're letting Scorette just be in front of them and letting him kind of take them along. So that's not the battle for 2nd place. There's not a battle for 2nd place at the moment. This is the battle for 3rd position. Will, Dominguez and Sabo. So we're going to see at least 2 amateurs on the podium. It looks like, as you were saying earlier on, Andy, it's a very good round for the amateur drivers. And also, if Scorette could win this race, race 3, would mean it would be a full house for IGL Coatings e-racing. So it wouldn't quite be a Barons a Barons lockout. It would be an IGL Coatings lockout, which would be some kind of substitute, I'm sure, for Jakob after his mistake earlier on. Dominguez then back up to 3rd place. These guys have been stopping around all the way through, but actually Will keeps that 3rd position, so good job there from the German driver. 2.3 seconds now is the gap, so Scorette was 0.2 of a second fast on that last lap. I think we've got another 3 laps to go after this one, so at the moment Scorette would be able to get that gap down to about 1.4 seconds by the end. So it doesn't look like he's going to catch up, but any mistake from the American and Scorette will be right on.
I think that's what we've seen a lot of in this race number 3 is self-inflicted mistakes on the gap. So let's hope Jacob can keep it nice and clean and keep that 1st place out there. Hopefully I can just commentate Kirsten, but he still keeps it quite well coming down the last corner, down the start-finish race. We've got a sizable lead over Scorette in 2nd place, so it's very much for him to lose. But what is interesting, Sam, if you look at the timing tower, there's only 3 pros left on the lead lap. Every other car is an amateur driver, with all the pros seem to be having their own battles in race number 3, and unfortunately all coming off the worst for it and having to take that tow back to pit. So, only 3 pro drivers in the top 13 places. The rest are all taken by amateurs.
That's pretty crazy.
It is,
yeah. So Priest losing another 0.2 seconds on that last lap, but it's all going good. I think Priest actually extended the lead at turn 1 on this lap, so looks like he's going to take the race win, and that is the cue for a commentator's curse, if I've ever heard one. But I can't see anything stopping him at the moment. He's got a little bit of traffic just ahead of him. He's got, no, it's not Behrens, it is Walsh just in front of him. And no disrespect to Jay, he has been involved in a few incidents so far tonight as Jay, so you do well to avoid that one. 2 more laps to go. Just going to miss out on a 3rd lap, as we had done on the other 2 races. And still this battle for 3rd, incredibly intense. Will is still holding on. Dominguez, contact between the 2 of them, and big contact, and they all had to go off. So Sabo, is he able to get ahead of all of them? No, so it's still Dominguez at the front of it. Will's taking a while to get back, and he does tow back to the pits. They were battling so hard with one another. That was always going to happen eventually. Dominguez gets through it cleanly though.
Yeah, it's so unfortunate for Wills, obviously, fighting hard up there in the top end of the field, and unfortunately getting hits, and he's taking the trip to the pits. So there's another victim of race number 3. So half the field, I think, at the moment has been paid victim to race number 3, but one driver that at the moment has seemed to have got this track nailed in race 3 is Jacob Parise in first place, and currently 2.2 seconds. So that lead is not coming down, Sam, at the moment, because Scaret is fighting hard against Dominguez. Obviously, he did have a few more drivers around him beforehand to battle him, but obviously Dominguez and Savills trying to get onto the back of him as well. So Dominguez is fighting it out for that second place as we watch on board with him here.
Well, the two cars with Scoret are the two back markers, of course.
There it is.
So, yeah, and so Dominguez and Saro by themselves in third and fourth. Scoret just with this couple of drivers just to help them across the line. Just encouragement, perhaps, like a shark making you faster at a gala. I'm not quite sure. Parise then outs in the lead, 5 seconds to go, and I don't believe he's ever won an Apex Racing League event, but this is going to be a very nice report one for him. Full send Esports. He approaches the line, does the American, and he wins race 3 at his home event at Lime Rock Park. Parise wins in Apex Racing League Formula V, and that is a very well-deserved win. Congratulations to him. He held off Scaret comfortably in the end, who gets very good points, might well be at the top of the standings after tonight. Scaret. Dominguez finishes in third position despite an incident ahead of Sabo. Meets him with a very good try to come back to fifth place. Haraski was in sixth. McMullen just able to pass Fowler on the line. I don't know if you can see a replay of that one actually, because I saw that change right at the end. McMullen managing to take that 8th position overall. We haven't seen Parise in that many races, I feel, on Apex Racing League, Andy, but a fair few, and of course been around for the whole season, and that was a really nice win for him. And to be fair to him, I mean, whilst he was in the right position, he had to really drive well. He did drive exceptionally well. He was matching Alexander Scaret for most of that race, which is an incredible feat.
Yeah, so we're just seeing the replay here, David Mullen getting it really squirrely out of that chicane, but I think he gained a lot of time there, obviously fighting in car. So he's quite far back. He must have got a really good toe off him from Renault, or a mistake from the car in front of him to take him on the line as we watch it here. So is this the last of the race? As it's coming down for the lap? No, it doesn't seem to be as close as you made it sound. Maybe the timing tower didn't...
Well, I think that was the penultimate lap, and then this is the last one. Don't start throwing accusations about Andy. You doubt my commentating skills. It was close. When I say it was close, it was close. I don't know. It may not have been close. I don't know. It seemed to change right at the end. But anyway, McMullen benefited from it. He got that position right at the finish. So the final results then from race 3 of the evening. Jacob Parise winning out, 2.3 seconds ahead of Scaret. There was Dominguez, really good result for the Portuguese. Sabo was in 4th, Meetson and Haraski. Lacour under the radar actually, but considering that he crashed in race 2, that was a good job from him to end up in 7th place. He was up 12 places from his start, highest gainer of anyone. Then it was McMullen, Fowler, Reeve rounding out the top 10. Roggenbach started from the pole, but he spun on the first lap. Pravda with a disappointing day, but he'll still be easily in the lead of the Amateur Championship in 12th place in that specific race. Jacob Behrens, man, he should have got the hat-trick. Maybe it would have been tricky to catch up to Parise, seeing that Parise was so quick in the closing stages, but he had a good kind of 2-second head start on Scaret, so I think it would have been very close. So I'd give him maybe a 60% chance of winning that one had he not made the mistake, and then he made another one soon after. So 2 race wins, I think probably still the highest point score of anyone tonight, but could have been a little bit more. 1 lap down was Siri Sabo, Yanka, Will, Costa, Smith was in 18th place. Also 1 lap down was Andelo, Ball, Sorensen. Walsh was 2 laps down, and 2 drivers who didn't start with the race were Charpentier and Kinter. Credit to the drivers there. So many drivers had to take faster pairs. I'm counting, I think 9 drivers had to take faster pairs. 10 drivers had to take faster pairs in that race, but they all got back out on circuit, finished the race, score points. That's what we want to see. We want to see lots of drivers on the track at the end of the race, and lots trying to gain as many points as possible. So we have got the pleasure, and by the way, I will just say, if you've enjoyed those 3 races, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Apex Racing TV, so you can see more action on the channel. Loads of racing, of course, coming up on Apex Racing TV, GT cars, NASCAR. I think that we had some dirt oval racing actually last night for the American drivers, so do make sure to give it a chance to a subscribe, and also check out our Facebook, Twitter and Instagram pages as well. But we have got the pleasure of chatting to a couple of drivers, and first up, we've got to have a chat with Jakob Behrens, who joins us in the commentary box. Jakob, Andy will need to apologize for this one, because you were having the best evening ever. 2 race wins, halfway through race 3, it looks like you're going to win your 3rd race, and then Andy says, oh wow, it looks like Jakob's going to win his 3rd race tonight, and instantly you spin. So we can only apologize for the commentator's curse.
Andy, why you do this to me, man? Honestly.
Sorry, mate. It wasn't intentional.
No, it was awesome not weekend, awesome Monday for me. I went into this race, from the practice I knew I was quick, but 2 race wins and a pretty good shot at the 3rd race too. I did not expect in the slightest. That was awesome, really, from start to finish.
Yeah, it really was. I think, that race 1 was very good. And both race 1 and race 2, all about the tactics, it seemed. And that race 2 finish in particular, you absolutely nailed the tactics. It was interesting because in race 1, you were the leader coming out of the chicane and you won. And then in race 2, you were 2nd place out of the chicane and you still won. So how were you able to kind of make that difference in both races?
In race 1, I applied the patented Lewis Hamilton weave. And weave back and forth to get a bit of the slipstream away, and then when he got close, I straightened that and was just enough to avoid him getting avoid Miro, I think it was, to get right on my rear end, so I could get over the line, which that felt great. And Aaron Smith made the mistake in race 2 of he defended a little bit too hard into the last corner. He was great driving in the entire race, but a little bit too hard. He went too far to the inside, and that allowed me to just get the slipstream and just about get past. I think it was 44 thousandths across the line difference, which is not a lot, really.
Definitely, yeah, absolute skin of your teeth right there to take that race win. I'm just looking at the standings heading into this round. Amazingly, you were only 9th in the Overall Championship heading into this round. It kind of just shows maybe the misfortune you've had this season, but this round heading into the second half of the season must give you a lot of confidence that you could still win this title.
Yeah, it's just it's finally being able to show what I'm good for. Not doing anything. Race 3 was me doing stupid things, but just not doing stupid things the first 2 races, and just having a good all-round good race. It felt real good to show what I'm capable for, and don't know where I am now, but I hope I'm moving up a little bit.
For sure, yeah, I imagine you'll be up in the top 5, maybe even top 3 after that great points haul tonight. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
My teammate, of course, Alexander Scarlett. He race 1, race 2, race 3, he was lovely. We played a team game pretty much every race, and especially race 1, we play that to perfection, really. P1 and P3, which is a great point solve for the team. Miro from race 1 and race 2, and just all around this entire day has just been awesome. Clean racing, and he understands how to win races, really. It wasn't by a lot he got 2nd, so he's definitely going to make some moves further on. And I'm sorry about this, Daniel, but Sarboy also really good. He salvaged my race too, which was really nice, and ended up with a good result there too. So I'm really happy for those 3.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Jakob, and hope to see you back in 2 weeks' time.
I'll see you then. Bye.
Jakob Behrens their 2 race wins along with a 13th place finish, and that was lovely, Andy, to hear the positive words towards the other drivers. And I think those top pro drivers in particular, I'm not sure what it's like for the rest of the field, but I think those top pro drivers I think maybe showed today how they can kind of get on, because we saw some really good racing. We didn't see too many incidents between all of them. There was many solo mistakes which kind of broke up the packs. Yeah, I think there's quite a good rapport between them at this midpoint of the season, which is nice to see.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously you saw really well there the teammates working together in race 1 and race 2, working well together, trying to get the slipstream of each other's cars. And sorry, we've actually got Alexander Scaret waiting in the wings, so we'll get Jacob Behrens' teammate in, Alex Scaret. Hi Alex, and welcome to the commentary box. So we've just been speaking to Jacob, and he's just been singing your praises about how well you two guys worked together in race 1 and race 2. How did that go for you tonight?
Yeah, it was when I saw that we were opening a gap to the 4th place, I just said, come on, let's not fight there. Try to keep it us 3 so we could save the podium at least. And yeah, just try to use the draft and not let the 4th place take us. But he catched us by the end. But Jacob took the last bit there, so great work from him.
So you're playing tail gunner to Jacob today, but it certainly paid out there today. So I think it was a 3rd in race 1, and I think it was, I forgot where it was, and the 2nd in race 3. So obviously we were thinking that, and unfortunately I gave a bit of a commentator's curse to Jacob after saying he's doing really well and catching 1st place. We might see our first pre-race winner of the evening, but unfortunately our commentator curse and he spun out on the next track. But you know, we were thinking that maybe there'll be an IGL Colton E race race victory for race 1, 2 and 3, but you couldn't quite get there at the end. Just tell us about race number 3 there.
Yeah, I was really sorry for Jacob spinning there, but you know that sausage curbs, they're real tricky here. So, but when I saw I was in 2nd and had a good gap to 3rd, I just think, nah, I just saved it. I didn't want to risk it, so I didn't really push for that win, because 2nd place is good points just for me and the team. So I didn't want to risk it, so I just played it safe. And Paris drove good, so we didn't make any errors I could catch up. So
yeah, so we were speaking to Jacob, and he was obviously singing the praises of yourself, and obviously Gabor Sabo. Are you finding now that obviously, you know, we're 4 rounds into the championship, people are starting to get used to the cars? Are you starting to bond a lot more with the pro drivers, and you know you've got a better understanding with each other?
yeah, and by now I know which drivers give room, who's not giving room. So some people I fight hard, some people I don't dare to stay so close to. So it's good to know people, and I just feel everyone drives much better now. They're much safer with the car. It's not so many stupid spins, and yeah. And I would like to thank Sabo and Janke for keeping behind me when I was in 2nd there. They were quicker in my draft, but they were lapped down and they didn't bother me.
Oh, hey. Obviously, we got Brands Hats next. How are you looking forward to that track?
I've only driven there in the Formula 3, so yeah, a little less grip here with this car. So, but I love the track. It's a good flow. So and I think it's a lot of tricky corners there to master. So I feel like the pros and AMs maybe it's going to be a bigger gap, so we'll see.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously a brilliant night for IGL Coatings, points haul, and obviously for both of you drivers as well. So before I let you go, is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
Especially Jacob, but I'd like to give a shout out to the whole team. We have so much fun in practice. We learn so much from each other, and it's a great team, really. And you see us in a lot of Apex League races, so we are many, and we are good cooperation, and yeah.
Yeah,
The more the merrier.
Yeah, definitely. It certainly showed tonight. You two were on imperious form, and unfortunately for a spin from Jacob, he might have got
Yeah.
his 3 race wins. But you two kept us entertained all night. So personally, thank you very much for that. And I look forward to seeing you at Brands Hatch next week and seeing if you can pull it off all again.
Yeah, and I hope to get another. This was 3 races 0x, so I will keep that to next race too.
Nice one. See you later, Alex.
Yes, bye.
There we had Alex Scoret obviously getting second place there so paying sort of second fiddle to Jacob, but paying a really good teammate to being his rear gunner there, Sam. And you can tell by that interview, the respect that they've got between themselves, and like you were saying there, the respect that the other drivers around him, people are getting more used to this car now, so therefore the driving's a lot better, and he's getting used to people that he knows he can pass and knows who he needs to give space to.
Yeah, absolutely. It was good driving, particularly from those two tonight. We're going to have one more interview with Aaron Smith, who joins us in the commentary box now. Aaron, congratulations on probably a mixed bag of results. A second place, a 14th, and an 18th. We'll get to, I guess, maybe the bittersweet parts of the evening. The runner-up spots in race 2. It was super close heading onto that final lap. In hindsight, do you think there was anything that you could do to hold on to the lead on the run to the line, or do you think once you had Jakob behind you in that position, it was impossible to defend?
Well, I think on those final few laps, I knew I could get the win if I just played my cards right, but unfortunately I didn't. And in hindsight, on that last lap, I should have just stuck behind him and then did what he did on that final lap and just get a straight run to the line. It's probably what I should have done because it worked for him, and I nearly lost second. But I mean, second is still all right from starting 14th, but no driver likes missing out that close on a win. People say it's a second, but you're always going to be annoyed if it's not first. So it's a good result, my best of the season, but it could have been so much better.
Yeah, and especially must be tricky with that. So yeah, 4 100ths of a second difference right at the line. The other 2 races weren't quite as successful. Unfortunately, a couple of incidents for yourself. Could you just take us through kind of how those originated?
Well, in the first race, I just got caught up in a bit of an incident at the chicane where I think it was Zivi Zabo went over the curb and took me and another guy out, so I couldn't really avoid that. And then the third race was an absolute mess. I'm sorry, but the driving standard in that third race was horrible. I got left no room in that first lap at all by anyone. Everyone was just so aggressive. I got 12 incident points on that first lap alone. And then on the second lap into turn 1, I just got yeeted into by 2 other drivers and had to tow. So it's just my luck, as usual. But, I mean, we've got a week break, so everyone can hopefully chill out, relax, and just take a break, because that last race just clearly showed the lack of patience from everyone in this series. So I hope we can just have this week break and come back knowing how to race again.
4 rounds to go. As you say, a break week before the next one. We've got Brands Hatch, Okayama, Charlotte, and Road Atlanta Short remaining. Do any of those circuits stick out to you as particularly fun circuits?
Brands Hatch is my home circuit. In fact, I literally live 20 minutes from it. So I've been there quite a few times. I quite like Brands Hatch. It's a very good track. I think that will probably be quite a good track for racing. Okayama could be a bit of a mixed bag. I think that will be a bit of slipstream fest. Charlotte will be just complete slipstream. I mean, it's a roval. So I think Charlotte could be a bit chaotic, but we'll just have to wait and see. And I think Road Atlanta should be the closest racing we're going to have all season, because it's a fairly short track. The only straight is the main straight, pretty much on the short layout. So hopefully, Road Atlanta, we should see some pretty hard and close racing. Pretty much like we did today, to be honest, because that finish to that second race was so close between the top three.
Absolutely, yeah. Fingers crossed for more racing like that for the second half of the season. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, Aaron?
Everyone at Apex, even though people don't know how to drive in the series themselves, you guys still do an amazing job at commentating and putting on the series for all of us. And my friend Jack, who also does this series with me, who also got really unlucky today. But we both have a lot of fun doing these series, and it wouldn't be anything without you guys commentating and making it better for all of us.
Awesome. Thank you very much for the kind words, Aaron, and we'll see you back very soon.
Thank you, guys.
Aaron Smith, runner-up, of course, in race 2, and then also a 14th place finish and an 18th place finish. Andy, we have a break week next week. The drivers have a chance to, I don't know, go on vacation. It's August. Go outside, whatever that is. And before we get back to the second half of the championship, Brands Hatch is the circuit that we return to, then of course followed by Okayama Charlotte and Road Atlanta Short. Those final 4 races actually really interest me because I think the ones that we've been to so far fairly common. I mean, to be fair, I guess Hockenheim is a bit of an unusual circuit, but you know, these Formula V cars, I feel like they're very much at home at Laguna, at Summit Point, at Lime Rock. They're kind of typical circuits to find these in the official series. But those final few rounds, paid circuits, at least 3 of them, I think it'll be quite interesting to see them, particularly Brands Hatch, where you got some fantastic corners around that place. I think that should be one of the best races of the season.
Yeah, definitely. What's been really good, and obviously we've heard sort of like mixed bags. Obviously, we heard Aaron there saying, you know, about some of the driving styles of the drivers, and I really think it depends where you are in the field. If you're at the front end of the field, you're okay. If you're in the melee of the middle pack, then you're sort of playing the lottery game if you're going to do it. And unfortunately, as we saw there, he mentioned about the incident in race number 2, and that was obviously caused by, unfortunately, a driver spinning on turn number 4, and basically just causing a domino effect. And it's unfortunate, you know, and I understand the frustration that Aaron's probably talking about, but I don't think a lot of people could have done anything with that. It's just where you are in the field of this. But you know, you can see the driving styles and the driving practices of the driver on streams and everything like that. It's getting a lot better. I mean, we got to put it in perspective. You know, it's a brand new series, a brand new car. And people are still trying to learn the cars, but you can certainly see the driving standard is getting better. It's just the middle of the pack understanding where they are on the cars. But I'm certainly looking forward to the second half of the season. And like you say, Sam, some really good tracks coming up, and I'm particularly looking forward to Brands. I think it's going to be really good. And to be fair, I think Okayama is going to be a good track. You know, you have got the slipstream down the long back straight and the start-finish straight, but you got the technical bit in sector 2 going into the last sector of Okayama. So I think that's going to be one to watch as well.
I think that's a very good shout. I think, yeah, Okayama with its hairpins are proper kind of braking areas for these cars. I mean, you see so many corners which aren't really corners in this Formula V car because of kind of how much grip it's got, and maybe its lower power output as well. But Okayama, you got some hairpins on there which you are definitely going to have to brake for. So no, I think that's a very good shout as well. And yeah, hopefully we see some good racing in the second half of the season. You can take part in it if you wish. Visit apexracingleague.com where you can sign up for the final 4 rounds of the championship. You can also sign up to any of our other 6 leagues currently going on. We've got GT3s on a Tuesday. We have got Radical Series starting soon on a Wednesday, NASCAR on Thursdays, Super Trucks on Fridays, F3 cars on Saturdays, and GTE cars on Sundays. All broadcast on Apex Racing TV, all with some fantastic prizes as well, and all with really entertaining to take part in. So do certainly visit apexracingleague.com to find more details on all of them. big thanks to Virtual Racing School, to SDK Gaming, and to Apex Racing Academy for sponsoring this broadcast and for providing some fantastic prizes for the series champions as well, in both the drivers and the teams championships. You can find out more about the services that they provide using the links in the description below. If you've enjoyed this broadcast, do please leave a like on it and subscribe to Apex Racing TV. Also click the bell button as well, so you're notified whenever we go live with a broadcast, which is very often, a couple of broadcasts every single day of the week in a variety of time zones on Apex Racing TV. So do make sure to give us a subscribe. But for now, from myself, Sam Fitzpatrick, from Andy Thompson, and from Sam Kumo, we say goodbye to the first half of the season. We will see you back at Brands Hatch in 2 weeks' time for round 5 of the championship. See you then.